classic movie fans, Rick Nineg here. Thank you and welcome to my Monsters and Alien special for this Halloween season. Now last year, if you remember, I did a monster special, a Rick Nineg Monsters special with many different classic movies from the Universal Monster era. This year I'm gonna continue that, but also include some classic Alien movies. Today we're going to be talking about The Day the Earth Stood Still from 1951. Now I will talk spoilers, I will talk about the plot of the movie and what happens and so forth, so if you don't want it spoiled, make sure to watch the movie before this, or you can just watch it and then watch the movie afterwards, and I think you will still enjoy it anyway. But I'm going to talk about a lot of fun facts about the actual movie and a pretty mind-blowing secret that pretty much wasn't revealed for decades. So let's look at the video and find out what you want to know about this movie. Again, there will be spoilers ahead, so be forewarned. Now, traveling at a mind-boggling speed of 4,000 miles an hour, an unidentified flying object zooms in from deep space. Now, it penetrates Earth's atmosphere and it lands fairly smoothly in Cold War era Washington, D.C. Now, military forces encircle the craft, and a peaceful intergalactic ambassador, Klaatu, comes out from the mysterious vessel. And he's accompanied by a silent yet mysterious robot that has unimaginable power. His name is Gort. Now, he was here to witness firsthand how hospitable Earthlings are. Now, the sophisticated humanoid declares that he comes in peace. However, he needs to assemble the world's greatest minds to hear his warning and a definitive ultimatum. Now, is Klaatu a messenger of humanity's doom, or is he there to save it? I want all of you to let me know your thoughts, what you think of the movie below, but I'm going to go into a lot of really fun information, including this decades-long, essentially secret of how they made the craft open up. I mean, again, using 1951 tech, no CGI, nothing like that. It's pretty mind-blowing. Now, one of the most interesting parts of the movie for me was the robot Gort. Now, Gort, who's the man inside? The actor's name was Lock Martin. Now, Lock Martin was the doorman. Yeah, you guessed it. The doorman from Grauman's Chinese Theater in Hollywood, California. But the reason they cast him was because of his nearly 7-foot height. These are images of him compared to someone of pretty much around 6 feet, 5'8" height. So it's pretty mind-blowing to see him. Now, however, Lock Martin was not a physically strong man, and he could not actually carry the actress Patricia Neal. So they had to be aided by wires. You can even notice the wires in the shots from the back where he's carrying her. And it's actually a lightweight dummy that's in his arms, not Patricia. Now, he also had difficulty with the heavy suit, Gort, the actual suit itself, and could only stay in it for about half an hour at a time, so it made shooting his scenes very challenging. Now, when they were making the movie, the Army refused to cooperate after reading the script. In fact, they didn't like that the Army was painted in a negative light, so the studio then approached the National Guard. They had no problems with appearing on screen, and they gladly offered their cooperation into appearing in the film. That's really awesome. Now, it's really ironic to think Patricia Neal had such a great impact in this movie. She even admitted that in interviews, she was completely unaware during filming that the film would be looked at so well by the audience and that it would become one of the greatest science fiction classics of all time. She assumed that it would be just one of the, current trashy flying saucer movies, and she found it difficult to keep a straight face while she was saying her lines. Made it difficult for them to film the scenes. They had to redo them over and over, but that's mind-blowing to think that she never knew the impact the movie would have on audiences. Now, Michael Rennie played Klaatu, that is the humanoid alien in this movie. One of the reasons why they cast him was that he was generally unknown to American audiences. Later, he would play the Sandman, one of the villains in the Batman 60s television show with Adam West. However, coming back to this movie, he would be more readily accepted as an alien since these audiences didn't really know him. Now, the studio head, Zanuck, had shown the film to Spencer Tracy, who's eager to play the role. Now, the producer, Blaustein, objected, saying that the audience would have numerous expectations about the character upon seeing an actor of such high regard emerging from this flying saucer. Now, Blaustein knew that Zanuck had the ultimate control of the film, and even if he insisted, Blaustein would either have to resign or make the movie in an unsatisfactory way. Fortunately, Zanuck agreed and Rennie was cast instead, and I'm so glad that he was cast in this role. Now, you'll notice that a lot of shots were used between Washington, D.C. and some of the close-up shots of the actors. Now, in fact, they used doubles whenever you saw Klaatu and Bobby, the little boy, in the long shots with them in Washington, D.C. The reason is because none of the principal cast ever went to Washington, D.C., and the scenes with Klaatu and Bobby at the Lincoln Memorial and at Arlington Cemetery were shot in front of background screens using footage shot by a second unit crew in Washington, D.C. Wow, no one was the wiser that this was going on. I know a lot of you may look at the flying saucer and think, well, what was that spaceship made of? Was it made out of aluminum, stainless steel, certain type of metal? Well, no, Hollywood fooled you. It was made of wood, wire, and plaster of Paris. And now I'm going to talk about probably the part that you're most waiting to see. Now, if you notice when the spacecraft first lands and then it opens up with that sophisticated ramp system, you can see that there are no seams visible to see where the door is. Now, that's hard to do, right? Especially with metal, because there always will be gaps in any door, any window, right? There are always gaps, but they thought of something and it was pretty genius, especially for being 1951. Now, to give this appearance of seamlessness to the spaceship, the crack around the door was actually filled with putty. Yes, putty. Once that dried, they painted over it. Now, when the door opened for the scene that they filmed, the putty was torn apart, making the door seem to simply appear. Now, because it was shot from farther away, you couldn't really see the putty break. You would just see the opening essentially open. And now, how do they do it to make everything come back and fit perfectly? All they did was reverse the film. They kept everything else stable, and once they reversed the film, made it go backwards, it looked like it was retreating back into the craft. Such a cool thought, and we're not the wiser looking at it. It just looks so good on film. Well, thank you so much. Let me know what you think of this movie, your favorite moment of the movie. It is a good one. Remember, this isn't a review per se, this video. If you want me to do that, maybe one day I could review the film, tell you what I think about it. But I can tell you that these are some of the really interesting and fun facts about the film, especially the seamlessness. I think that was really cool because when I saw it, I was like, whoa, how did they did that? There was no seam, right? I was expecting to see it, and you can't really see it. I mean, now with HD, maybe it's barely visible, but back then you would not see anything. So that was pretty awesome unto itself. Thank you so much for the support as always. We'll see you all next time. Thank you for supporting the Monster and Alien special. More videos are coming out. We'll see you next time, and don't forget, be hopeful. Thank you so much to everyone who supports my work on Patreon. David D, Sally N, Gerard D, Greg S, Ricky, Citizen Kane 359, Kevin K, and Vito L. If you want to appear on this list, don't forget to look at the Patreon description in the link below. Thank you.